the record, Mr. Chair.
Good morning. Call case number 121-12, premises at 4460 West 29th Avenue. Please give us your name and the address for the record.
Yes, my name is Corbin Welch. My address is 1430 Manczur Street, 300, Denver, Colorado, 80202. I am the attorney for the applicant, Barrera Holdings LLC. We have a power of attorney here.
Your role with this?
I represent the applicant.
Barrera Holdings?
Correct.
Is there anyone here from that group?
From Barrera Holdings, specifically no, from Hogs Head Brewery, which is also a co-applicant, so to speak. They are represented there. And that is the entity that occupies and operates the corner.
Okay. We'll get started in a moment. Thank you very much. Is there anyone here in favor of this appeal, or this request for exception? Is there anyone here in opposition to this request for an exception? Let the record reflect that there is no support in opposition to this request. Does the city wish to intervene?
Yes, we do, Mr. Chair.
Will everyone who wishes to speak on behalf of this case, the testimony of this case, please stand and be sworn in. So if you think you might speak, please stand to be sworn in. If you are here just to listen and have information and choose not to speak, that's up to you. But you do want to be sworn in. You don't have to speak if you don't wish to. You swear or affirm that your testimony will be the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Please be seated. We have a few preliminaries and let's get started. Ms. Tilden, the defense has been properly posted?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we have it.
Please present the exhibits and read the appellate statement.
In case 121-12, we presently have 13 marked exhibits. Exhibit number 1 is a letter of authorization allowing the applicant to apply for a zoning permit with special exception review through the Board of Adjustment. This is actually a first impression permit request. It's not an appeal of a denial or an order. Exhibit number 2, which has been given to the appellant, is the board sketch showing the subject property on the corner of Utica and West 29th and the location of the proposed outdoor heating area. Exhibit number 2 are the board's posting photos, which also give an overview of the property and some of its context. Exhibit number 4 is the registered neighborhood organization notice. We sent this notice out to 7 neighborhood groups. We did have a response from the Sloans Lake Neighborhood Association. Exhibit number 5 is the applicant's statement, which reads as follows. We would like to build and fence in the exterior front of the building to accommodate some shaded exterior seating for the brewery. And that's signed by Barrera Holdings as owner. Exhibit number 5 is the applicant's statement, which reads as follows. We would like to build and fence in the exterior front of the building to accommodate some shaded exterior seating for the brewery. And that's signed by Barrera Holdings as owner by Manczur. Exhibit number 6 is a site plan showing the proposed eating area, which was given to us by the appellant. Exhibit number 7 is a letter of approval from the Sloans Lake Neighborhood Association. Exhibit number 8 is the staff recommendation for this property. The recommendation was that the application for the permit be approved. Exhibit number 9 is a letter of approval from a nearby property owner. Exhibit number 10 are 3 letters of opposition from 2 nearby property owners and the pastor of a nearby church. Exhibit number 11 is an anonymous letter of opposition with attachment. Exhibit number 12 is a letter of approval from Susan Shepard, the councilwoman for the district. And exhibit number 13 is, exhibit number 12 is a letter of approval from Susan Shepard, the councilwoman for the district. And exhibit number 13 is the city's packet of information, which includes an aerial photo of the site.
There has been a lot of support for this application. As you know, Sloans Lake Neighborhood Association has supported this and has submitted a letter, which is included as Exhibit 7 already. There also is approval from the Highlands Mommies group on Facebook, who have supported this. We have signatures of support of over nearly 600 people who have signed a petition that will be included in the exhibit. And we acknowledge that there has been some opposition. The opposition was based on false and inaccurate information. They were told that there was a request for a 2 a.m. extension of the operating hours, and that is absolutely inaccurate, and that is not the case, as evidenced by the application itself. And all opposition primarily has been premised upon that there was going to be an increase of noise until 2 a.m. in this area, and that is not accurate at all. Even if there is an increase in noise, which there is not going to be, the buffer by the building protects the residential area from having any of that issue. That was an issue that was brought up from the Sloans Lake Association in their meeting, and as you can tell in their letter of recommendation, they addressed that by acknowledging that there is not beer, there's not alcohol served on the patio, that any noise is conversational, and so that is what is the prime key there.
What communication, if any, was that conducted with the neighbors and that surround this particular property?
My client
to the south and to the
my client has knocked on all the doors and have received, to the extent people were there, the majority have been in support of it. There were 2 in opposition of that. No reason was given for that.
Did you just say that there's no food and no alcohol being served on the patio?
There is not a bar on the patio. Like you can purchase alcohol on inside, and then you can take it out to the patio.
And is there also food being served?
There is not food at the location being served under its current use.
Mr. Chair, I should also be clear for the record. I recognize some faces in the audience. I do know some people that I have discussed this case. I also do know the applicant, Mr. Manczur. So we have discussed this.
Thank you. On the brewery, in terms of whether they were contacted?
Yeah, so number 2870 Utica Street is owned by Mr. Cianci. He is here in support of that. He's actually a co-owner of the brewery.
And what about across the street?
2860 is
here also.
2870 is here as well. And
2870 and 2860 are here in support.
Our board is both in support.
What we'll do is go ahead now and open it up to the audience in terms of listening to first those in support. If you wish to come up and speak before the board to basically show why you're in support, and see that what we're looking for actually from the community is this proposal that's being considered, is it a detriment? In other words, the outdoor patio operation, etc. In your opinion, is it a detriment to the community? Is it a detriment to this neighborhood? And if so, why? For those of you in support, would be indicating no, we do not see this as a detriment, and therefore we're supporting the request by the appellant for a special exception. So with that, if anyone wishes to speak before the board, feel free to come up. Please give us your name and address for the record. You're not required to speak. If someone has pretty much said what you wanted to say, then you can use this nod or be in accordance, and we will understand that.
Mr. Chair, can I ask a clarifying question? Are we here today for an eating and drinking establishment, or an eating and drink for the outdoor patio, or both? What is the city's opinion about use by right and this? I'm going to get on this first. Will you double check? Okay. Second wait. Go ahead.
We can come back to that. Go ahead, please. You want to add to the record?
My name is Cianci, 27 Utica Street. I live next door, and I have a partial ownership interest in the building, in the business. I live next door. We placed the patio as far away as we could from the residents to the west and from the residents to the north. It was our best effort to mitigate any potential noise issues. Again, as Torben had pointed out, we're not looking to extend our hours. That is, that's a rumor that's been circulated through the neighborhood. And, we're just trying to do what's right for us and what's right for the neighborhood around. Joe had a great point that, it's a really interesting dynamic in this establishment where the parking lot's nearly empty, yet the brewery's full, and it's everybody that walks the road that's right there. So we look at this as an asset to our neighborhood. My bedroom is literally right next door to the brewery, and I've never once been woken up. I also have a statement from the neighbor across the street that had to cancel and planned on attending today. If I can read that. Thomas and Christina Marola, 2819 Utica Street.
2019?
Yep. It would be 4 houses down from the corner on Utica on the west side. To whom it may concern, I would like to be noted to give my full support to Hogs Head Brewery patio. As a neighbor to Hogs Head Brewery and head of the neighborhood watch for the block of Utica between 28th and 29th, I believe the patio is a great addition. The group involved with the Hogs Head Brewery have already taken an old, dilapidated building and given it new life, a place that people can be proud of as a neighborhood. Also, as a new member of the Sloans Lake Neighborhood Association, Hogs Head Brewery is a fantastic location to hold meetings and talk with our other neighbors. My wife and I are excited to use the patio, and we'll be at Hogs Head Brewery soon. If there are any questions, please call me back. Thomas and Christina Marola, 2819 Utica Street.
Any questions from the board? Of course, noise is a question we can't answer at this point because the patio is not good. Any questions from the city?
Mr. Cianci, you've contacted the vast majority of the neighbors. What has been the response from the neighbors?
I've spoken with, most neighbors, those that weren't up in arms about the rumors of the 2 a.m. patio were very supportive. I spoke personally with the neighbors directly across the street, and Kevin couldn't make it today. I believe his father-in-law was going to try to come down today, but he is in support. I think that's 4511. I've also spoken with, and I have a couple of notes, I've also spoken with 45, West 29th. They're both in full support. Liz Graves and Dave Graves was for 4543 West 29th, also give their support with the speaker.
Any of the neighbors that you spoke with, did they voice any concerns or opposition?
I have not.
Thank you very much for coming down.
Thank you.
Anyone else who wishes to speak in support?
I don't have a staff.
So your house, you own it.
I have a neighbor. So, any more questions? I just asked you guys, would you want to live across the street from this? I mean, really, would you? Because I don't. I think it has a negative impact on my property values. I don't see why a family would want to buy a house that's directly across the street from a drinking establishment with an outdoor patio. Anyway, those are my thoughts.
Thank you very much.
You are aware, sir, that it's a use by right. So
I'm not arguing use by right. I'm arguing the patio.
Okay.
Anyone else who wishes to speak in opposition? Would you like to come up to the podium?
Well, it's not necessarily an opposition, but it is.
Well, we can wait till you come to the podium, give your name and address.
Okay.
Thank you.
President, for the Sloans Lake Citizens Group, we're totally separate from the Sloans Lake Neighborhood Association.
Your address?
And our service area boundaries are 10th Avenue on the south, 29th Avenue on the north, and between Federal and Sheridan Boulevards. We normally don't take positions on issues. What we consider ourselves, we consider our function to be a information clearinghouse, that is, we help the neighbors get together to discuss issues so they can make decisions for themselves. In rare cases, we will take a position, especially if there's a clear consensus. The issue about the Hogs Head Brewery seems to be an evolving one. A number of months ago, we know that Michael O'Flaherty of Community Planning and Development gave us a received application for Hogs Head Brewery as an eating and drinking establishment. Brew pub, of course, is a subset of an eating and drinking establishment. They approved the permit for it, and the question has been, how can a brewery be considered a brew pub if it has no ability to prepare and serve food? It's a brewery. It doesn't have the space for a kitchen. I know that Mr. Koch earlier asked the city attorney's office if this was a drinking and dining establishment, an eating and drinking establishment, and there was no response. So I believe there's some serious confusion, separate from the patio issue, as to what this facility is going to wind up being. Recently, we saw some correspondence from Tom Downing, the Director of Excise and License, that they have not applied for a brew pub license, even though they did apparently through community planning and development. So this is a moving target, so to speak. We don't know what it is. We know it's a brewery. We don't know what's going to wind up being. It can't be a brew pub. So we already know that they tried the food truck approach, and but that's disallowed by land use zoning. So again, the question appears to be a mystery about what's going to happen with this business.
Scott,
sorry?
From your position as a neighbor association, say you're kind of a sounding board, etc. Have you heard of any concerns conveyed to your association related to this?
Oh, yes. Yeah, especially from Mr. Martin.
Have you heard from any other neighbors related to?
We haven't engaged, we have not engaged in a discussion yet. Although that could, I guess it depends upon what the neighbors want to do. This was tentatively on our agenda for this month's meeting, and it was taken off the agenda, but we can certainly bring it back on the agenda for October.
Any questions from the board? Questions from the state? Okay. Anyone else who wishes to speak? So, John, one of the questions that was shared by Mr. Cox had to deal with whether the city reviews or separates a outdoor establishment or an establishment that is both eating, let's say, for food and drink, as opposed to solely for one, let's say, even just for eating or solely for drink. Does the city make a distinction in terms of making a review of this nature?
Definition within the Denver zoning code, section 11.4.4.4, eating and drinking establishment, basically reads commercial establishments engaged primarily in the sale of food or drink to consumers for on-premises or off-premises consumption. So, eating and drinking establishment. So,
food or drink. Right. It could be food or drink or both.
Right.
Mr. Jones, is the issue of proximity of the residents to this establishment raise a flag for the city, as far as being within 50 feet of residents?
It's, it's written into the code that an outdoor eating area that's less than 50 feet from a residential must, go through this review, and that's to address any potential impact. Obviously, today we've got people from both sides of the court, in support and in opposition. I think it would be a good idea to talk to the appellant or raise questions with the appellant regarding any specific or additional steps they could take to mitigate.
Etc. Try to look at the different elements of the neighborhood, but I think it behooves all of you as neighbors to work together to try to make this place work, not just for the benefit because it's a business establishment, but because it is a residential area. And if noise was an issue, I hope that those of you who are in support today, even my friend there on the bicycle, will be the first to say, hey, we need to put some limitations or at least address
the ownership to try to address that, but that's just the premise. So with that, I'd like to ask for your last comments in support of your request, if you have anything to add that hasn't already been added.
No, I think the only thing we would add is this is a benefit to this neighborhood. Many neighborhood meetings are held at this site. People come here, people walk there. This falls into the comprehensive plan of the city and county. This is what Denver is trying to do. To enable neighbors to have a meeting place. And the use of an outdoor patio, you need to look at the weather conditions. Obviously, in December, January, and February, we have a couple nice days, but in most cases, nobody's going to want to go out on the patio. It's a lot like what we have in the downtown district in the Golden Triangle. People use it in certain occasions or not. This is a spring and summertime outdoor event, a place for people to gather. It makes a lot of sense because it actually does mitigate any harm to neighbors by putting this patio right next to the man-made buffer of the building and right next to the existing commercial district. My clients have gone out of their way to try and make this as tenable as they can for all of those around there. And again, they are understanding and they reach out to these neighbors and they want to be good neighbors and be a place for them to come. They will continue to do that. They will continue to abide by the zoning requirements. If there is a noise violation, they will correct it, or they will put an end to whatever use is being a violation of that ordinance. They will comply in everything that they have. It makes sense to approve this request. It makes sense in the location as it is. If it's denied, it'll be moved, and it'll be moved closer to the residents, and we don't need to come to this meeting. For that reason, we're somewhat surprised there was opposition. I think people just didn't put two and two together. But now that they have the complete information, this is the best place for it, to enable the neighbors to get their best from this commercial enterprise. Thank you.
Will this patio be covered?
Right now, there's an overhang coming off the building that juts out approximately 4 feet onto the patio. About half of it would be covered. Right now, there is not plans to cover it, so it will be exposed beyond.
Thank you. I'm going to close this case. I'll share with you that the board basically has criteria that we use to determine the review of any exception request that comes before us. Our options now are to basically approve the request as submitted. One of the other options that the board can exercise is to go into executive session to review the additional materials that have been presented to us today that we did not have prior, as well as the testimony given to the board. So with that, I will defer to the board and see if there's any other comments related to this case. If not a motion from the board.
I would support the executive session. We've got a big pile of materials here. There is opposition to custom. There are people who wrote a few sentences on each one of those, and I didn't get to read them all. So
I would be in support of executive session also, because I think it's going to take some time to go through both packages.
Following the executive session, if there is a motion and it's approved that the board go into executive session for this particular case, that would mean that sometime after our docket today, after our hearings today, the board would meet and then review the materials that have been presented today, et cetera, in executive session, and then come back either at the end of the day with a decision related either to approval of the permit, as well as any conditions that the board may feel necessary to cite with respect to this permit request. If we do not get to that today, then we would do it next week at our following hearing, and then come with a decision. Anyone who wishes to know what the outcome of that session, if we were to go into executive session, can do so by contacting Ms. Tilden after 3 o'clock today, and she can give you an update related to what the status is. But that's just one option. There may be a board member that wishes to take action on this today. In order to receive any relief for this request, requires a vote of 4 members of the board. So with that, I will defer again to the board for any motion.
Mr. Chair, case 121-12 comes to the 4460 West 29th Avenue. I move that we move this into executive session and further review the documents.
Motion was made by Mr. Coe to take the case into executive session to review the documents. That was seconded by Ms. Roberts.
Any discussion on the motion? Please vote. Please vote.
Mr. Reed?
Aye.
Mr. Sandoval?
No.
And Mr. Sheriff?
Aye. So for this case, we will have an executive session later today. You can contact Ms. Sylvan, see what the outcome is. Hopefully, we'll try to resolve it by today. If not, it will be next week. Okay, thank you all for coming down to speak on behalf of the
21-12, premises at 4460 West Main. This is on the patio decision. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair, in approval 21-12, premises at 4460 West 29th Avenue. I move that we approve the request for the zoning permit for special exception.
Second, we have with the condition no music of the patio.
Oh,
Hello?
no music, with the condition that no music be played or performed.
No outdoor music.
Outdoor music, played or performed on the outdoor patio.
Is there a second? Second.
A motion was made by Ms. Roberts to approve the zoning permit with special exception review for the outdoor patio with the condition that there is to be no live or recorded music played on the outside patio. That was seconded by Mr. Sandoval.
I'm in support, but I want to just stay on the record that it's hard for me to be in opposition when there's no evidence to show that there will be a negative impact because it's it's a new permit, we're issuing a permit. So I guess all that.
I would think that would probably be the general opinion of the board.
This is the one that has to have the beer.
Yes.
Yes, sir. So do you want to vote?
Yeah, I'm ready to vote.
Shall I call the roll?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Reed?
Aye.
Mr. Coe?
Aye.
And Mr. Sheriff?
Aye.
Can we go on the record for a moment?
Let's start here trying to create a little interpretations.
We have, we're back on, is there a motion for adjournment unless there's any other business for the board?
So moved.
Second.
A motion was made by Ms. Roberts, pardon, Ms. Roberts, to adjourn. That was seconded by Mr. Coe. All in favor?
Aye.
Joan, I don't know if either one of you, we have